Martins.
One. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Grassroot Chats. As expected, there is a smile, there is joy, there is love coming from the red side of North London. It was a terrible weekend for almost every other team. For the members of Grassroot Chat, ManUtd lost, Southampton, well, Southampton, lost at home, but there was a smile. I mean, the smile started from the 20 something minutes, from the first 10 minutes, where they were given the white side of North London a blessing. A blessing was given. Did you boys enjoy your weekend, Big Steve, Mike?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
nice.
I enjoyed the football match I watched yesterday.
Yeah, it was
Okay. What about you, Mike? What shirt are you
wait,
wearing?
I watched them. I'm sorry, it's Arsenal. Yeah, I don't know if you know that. Yeah, I watched them highlights about 700 times, man. Made my kids watch it as well. It's fantastic.
AK, did you welcome back Jimenez back to the scoring lineup?
Man, that goal was really, really good. Unfortunately, he had to score against Southampton. Yeah, the guy is a very good player anyway. I rate him so much. Jimenez. I'm surprised Man City didn't try to sign him as they couldn't get Harry Kane.
Yeah, but don't worry. We'll talk about strikeless Man City. We'll talk about the beautiful joy in North London. But one of the saddest, or maybe the best thing, depending on what side that you are on, at the weekend was the dethroning of our good friend Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua.
You see, a lot of people actually. It's funny that a lot of people that are in the boxing game had no idea who Usyk was. They pretty much everybody was going with the analysis of, oh, Joshua's the bigger man, is the bigger fighter. And I had a friend of mine who actually texted me as Joshua was doing the Apollo Creed walking into the stadium, and he was like, he's lost. I'm like, what do you think he's lost? He said, nah, he said he's not here. He's shaking people, kissing people on the street. I mean, I don't know if that's a good enough reason. However, there is one thing that we cannot argue with. And of course, as I like to start with Big Steve on the normal, there is one thing we cannot argue with. He was beaten by a better boxer. What do you think, Steve?
Oh, hands down. I agree with your mate that walking into the ring, kissing people in the crowd, he just didn't look focused. He should have been focused on the fight because Usyk's a very good boxer. And then seeing the fight, Joshua didn't use none of the tools or his advantages to his benefit. He come in lighter. He come in a lot smaller than I thought he would have done. And he tried to seem to like wanted to box Usyk, and Usyk's a better boxer. Yeah, Joshua's got some skills, but he's not a boxer like that. And then he got shy in terms of throwing punches because Usyk was baffling him, and instead of letting go, he was holding back. So yeah, he just got beaten by a much better fighter.
The thing is, as you say, he did come in lighter, but he still came in heavier than Usyk. And it was understandable that he would try and drop some load off because he probably wanted to move as much as Usyk. I mean, AK...
He wasn't moving though, but he wasn't moving at all in that fight, just standing still.
Yeah, don't worry, Mike. We'll get to you.
Let's talk about it.
He's chomping.
But in AK, we know, we mentioned the fact that Usyk is probably arguably one of the best movers in the heavyweight division. A lot of people are saying, no, he's not heavyweight, but I mean, he's a big guy. He's not as big as the rest of them, but he has clearly shown that he's a level above AJ. And what do you think was AJ's mistake, AK, going into that fight or during the fight?
So I don't think he's a level above AJ. I just think AJ approached the game with the wrong strategy. So he tried to box with a boxer. So he played the game of Usyk. In fact, Chisora actually did better than AJ. You could even argue that Tony Bellew, I know he was knocked out eventually, did better than AJ against Usyk. That is because AJ was punch shy, just like Mr. Thanos mentioned. Like he wasn't really moving his hands. I don't know if it's because he found Usyk a smaller target, or because maybe Usyk was moving too fast. So obviously AJ couldn't find the range, but he couldn't really throw a lot of punches. The only thing he did well was actually his body punches. So actually AJ threw some nice body shots that actually disturbed Usyk. But one thing Usyk did in that fight was he was able to adapt So he was able to readapt his game. AJ couldn't. And I'm very surprised by his corner. I mean, the strategy should have been to try to manhandle, use your weight, manhandle Usyk, make him regret moving up to heavyweight. Kind of make the ring very difficult for him and stuff like that. Push him, lean on him, stuff like that. AJ didn't do none of that. So I think that's where he got his strategy wrong. And when things were going wrong, his corner didn't tell him to change strategy, and AJ himself couldn't readapt his game. I think that was the difference between the two boxers.
I mean, AK just said that Usyk didn't have class him, but I think the fact that one man could adapt and another man couldn't,
No, I didn't say he didn't outclass him. I said he's not a level above. He
same
just
thing.
on that night, he outclassed AJ.
Same thing.
And generally speaking, he's not.
Yeah, no. Level. There are levels to this thing, and when I mean levels, AJ is a good boxer, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, you pretty much pointed out a lot of strategies that he could have used: body him, rough him up. At some point, he caught him with some good body shots. You could see that Usyk was looking a bit,
Yep.
You could tell that these were power shots. But the first 3 rounds, Mike, the first 3 rounds, because me and Mike spoke about this yesterday, and you think it was Mike's cousin that was beating up, man.
He is my cousin. Anyway, listen, this guy lost the fight from before the fight even started. Let's be honest. Yeah. Guy's not focused. Man's kissing babies, hugging people. What are you doing, bro? You're going in to fight somebody. So it's a war.
He does that all the time anyway.
Yeah? Well, this time he got smashed up. Man needs to be focused on it. For me personally, if you're going to fight someone, you need to be on it. Anyway, fine. Okay, whatever. Let's say he does it. He gets in there. Game plan's wrong. Nothing changes. For 12 rounds, you can clearly see it's not working. Nothing changes. You just keep doing the same thing, and then you just get whacked up. And then on top of that, you're losing points as well. It's madness. And by the way, Usyk is 3-4 levels above AJ as a boxer. He was always a better boxer to begin with. So you can't outbox a person who's much better than you. It doesn't make sense. You have to play essentially. You have to fight, play whatever to your advantages, whatever tools you have that make at your disposal. You use. You don't try to play the guy at his own game when he's way better than you. It doesn't even make sense. So
who's frying egg?
Which kind of egg?
I don't know. They sound like
that was a sink of water in a sink.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You're hungry.
I'm hungry, man.
Come on, camera and eat something, innit?
Yeah.
So the guy got it wrong. He had time. Like you say, after the 3rd round, me and you were like, this guy's losing. He needs to do something else. He didn't do anything else.
But speaking about that, and I go back to AK here. So the first 3 rounds, Usyk was dominated, did everything wonderful. I feel that from the 4th to the 6th round, AJ he pretty much put the fight back on a draw level. In my opinion, to me, at the end of round 6, it was a draw. But even if AJ's 4th to 6th round wasn't as dominant, but I feel he had put himself in the position. You know what? I'm back into this fight. But now the question is, what was his corner doing? Why didn't you just, you know what, guy, you're losing this fight on points. Go there, out-rough this guy. Even if he knocks you out, it's fine. But at least try and use as much power as you can, because you have more power than him. So it just, I know.
No, but even without that, JJ, even if you don't go the full throw caution to the win and just start throwing hands like your Nigel Benn, yeah? Even if you don't do that, you had to change something and be more aggressive in what you're doing. So even if you're saying, all right, give him a couple more jabs, but hit him with the body, do something. You just kept the same game plan. It's working. I don't understand.
The problem is, right, that AJ, he couldn't change his game plan because anything he changed to meant that he was going to get hit more, right? And that, to me, that's one of his fundamental problems. Yeah, he's a boxer, but he doesn't want to be hit. If he's going to go in against Usyk, who's a southpaw, you're going to open yourself up. For him to go in and rough him up, he's not prepared to be hit, so he can't get close to Usyk to rough him up and put his weight and all that stuff. And he's not good enough to box from the outside. He's not mobile enough to box from the outside. So from time he's not prepared to be hit, he can't get close to Usyk because he's going to catch him going in.
Wait, Steve, hold on. So if you're saying that he's not good enough to box from the outside, but his plan was to box from the outside, then
but that goes back to what we're saying. So I was AK this because AK is one of those that likes to attack boxers that he doesn't like and like
like who?
And then boxers he likes, he's like, oh, maybe he did this, maybe he did that. As Steve has just said, it's difficult for fighting Southpaw in any form. And he kept getting hit constantly.
You were hit by then.
Yeah, so if we're saying the only thing he should have done is to rough him up, what else could he have done, AK?
He could have tried to jab him. So he didn't jab enough. He didn't jab enough. AJ has a good jab. Like jab and keep him out. You've got a longer reach, right? So you're literally
advantage.
Yeah, so you're literally trying, you can use your jab. So one jab is a defensive move. You're trying to use your jab to keep him away. So when you double jab is obviously you're trying to attack. But AJ has a longer reach. What he needed to do, which is what Klitschko normally does when Klitschko was in his prime, was to use the jabs to just make the game a very boring fight. So you could actually use your jabs and still win on points, and then force Usyk to feel under pressure. Hang on a minute, haven't actually thrown enough punches. I need to maybe try to knock out AJ to win. And then if Usyk is now coming in to attack him, he can counter attack with an uppercut or something and change the course of the fight.
But those jabs were not working at all.
And exactly. So which is surprising for a taller and guy with a longer reach. Like I don't know why his jabs, and AJ is normally good in his jabs.
Oh, Kareem is here. Sorry.
I've never seen Arsenal fans so excited to see a Tottenham fan in one room. I wonder why that is. But
come on, camera, fam. What are you hiding for?
But when he connects, we'll get there. However, AK Joshua was jabbing. It wasn't working. Usyk was getting past that jab like anything else. And then Usyk even said, my corner told me to take it easy, that I shouldn't knock him out.
So, no, obviously that was towards the end, but that could mean anything. That could mean like, oh, if you try to knock him out, he can knock you out. Remember, he's got more power, so don't try to knock him out because you're putting yourself at risk, not someone out, right?
Yeah, but speaking about a man that understands the beauty of being knocked out, welcome, Karim. how was your weekend? Everything was good, yeah?
Yesterday, everything was good, thank you.
All right, that's good. Karim actually believes AJ should retire. Why do you believe that, Karim?
Man, he's too young for that.
I feel like he's made a lot of money, and I feel like he's on a slow decline now.
He's two-time heavyweight champion.
I believe that, but I just feel like maybe he doesn't look the same fighter. I believe his hunger's gone. I know he wants to unify the division, but I don't know. He just doesn't look like the same fighter. Even leading up to the fight, he didn't seem as hungry as he normally did.
Mate, out of all those guys, yeah, the only hungry one, if you're going to talk about the three, Wilder, Fury, and AJ, the hungry one is Wilder. Yeah, and in all the fights that he has the hunger, Fury and AJ, they seem like this is boxing's kind of like more. It's not the main thing for them. Money. Yeah, they're making a career out of it. They're making money out of it, but they're not as hungry. And the thing is, the way the heavyweight division is at the moment, look, man will lose. AJ might fight for a title in 6 months. Even if he didn't face Usyk, he could still fight for a title. So it's not the days before like you lose your world title shot. You're 5 years in the wilderness. These men will box again for a heavyweight title in a year's time, 18 months.
See,
so
I agree with you as well. I think his language for me, it made it sound to me like he wasn't hungry. Because when he's talking about, he's going to fight Usyk and they're going to put on a show, I thought, what are you talking about, mate? You need to go in there and win the fight.
But Mike,
performances and shows.
He was even saying that even if he lost to Usyk, even without the rematch, he'll fight Fury or Wilder.
Well, it's a good.
That's before the fight.
The good thing now is this is very simple. This is very simple, and now that so he lost to a better boxer. Karim thinks he should retire. Mike doesn't think he was hungry. Steve just thinks, you know what, it's not payday. AK says, I don't think Usyk is that much levels above. Now the question is simple. To me, what are the options for AJ here? And I'll start with Karim. Should he trigger the rematch clause?
Yeah,
absolutely. He's going to. He would be stupid not to. But just before we go into that, I don't know if you lot see the clip of, going back to the hunger point, yeah? I don't know if you lot saw the clip of him actually getting his belts back.
Yes, I saw that.
Like, if any normal hungry champion will be fuming that he's going to get his belts back, But
It's
he'll
because
decide.
they're gonna have a
No worries,
rematch.
man. No worries, man. I'll see you in a couple times. I'll see you in a couple 6 months. Like me, for example, me yesterday, fuming, spitting feathers.
Why is that?
We won't go into that because I'll start the 7 minutes from now, bro.
No, wait, please, wait. Hold it.
Yeah. So why do you? AK and Steve are like the two calmest people here. So I'll start with AK. AK, why do people think that for you to have passion, you must show anger and you must try and bite somebody's ear off?
Intensity.
Mike Tyson.
Intensity.
No, so the truth of the matter. So I agree with some of the things Karim said. Which one of them is, I won't call it slow decline, but I'm a bit worried that AJ gasses out in almost all his recent fights, and the fact he actually dropped more than a stone in weight and still gassed out against Usyk is a bit of a worry. So he has to do, like, I think, more endurance training to build up his his endurance and stamina. What I would say is, obviously, AJ is too young to retire. So let's be a little bit fair to AJ. If you compare him with Wilder and Fury, he's actually fought more world champions than the two of them maybe combined together. This guy has fought lots of like hard fights consecutively, just like how Dillian White has done.
But you could argue that
Fury has not been fighting.
You could argue that he fought all the world champions when they were going out the door.
No, they fought Parker when Parker was literally in his prime. He unified.
Parker is the only champion that he has fought that's in his prime. Every other person is walking out the door. Klitschko.
No, Dillian White wasn't walking out of the door.
Dillian White wasn't the champion.
He still fought. He still knocked out a Povetkin that knocked out Dillian White. The point I'm trying to say is that Fury could have fought Dillian White, for example. Just let's balance it out. AJ has fought almost everybody. Dillian White, Parker, Takam, Povet. These are really hard fights, right?
Yep.
Fury hasn't fought none of this. AJ is still the only person to unify his belts. Fury has not actually defended his title ever. So I will still have more respect for AJ than the two of them, because those guys haven't actually fought anybody. Their CV is still very scant.
I like what the good thing is when you're a student or a student of Graham Souness, you can pick out certain people that you like.
Listen, AJ got punched
you don't jump into the pool and don't expect to get wet. AJ has been fighting loads of people, so of course he's going to lose at some point.
Okay, but Mike, Mike,
Mike,
look at it this way. This is how I look at it. And of course, please tell me if I'm wrong, people.
You're wrong.
I'll start with Mike. AJ got into boxing really late, but he has done well and he has been managed well. Became champion, lost it, became champion again, 2 times world champion. As AK has called out, he has fought a lot of champions. He has defended his belts. He's the first one to unify the belt. He's a student of the game, as they always say. He fought Ruiz. He lost to Ruiz. He came back, beat Ruiz. And now he's talking about see you later, blah, blah. Does he stand a chance of beating Usyk in a rematch?
Not if he carries on with those tactics, he doesn't. To be honest, the guy's a better boxer. He's going to have to find a way around that. He can't go in there and try and outbox the guy. He's just going to get wed. So I think he'll lose the rematch personally, but I mean, there's always a chance in boxing, isn't it? But...
Okay. Steve, triggers a rematch. Any chance of him winning?
No, not unless he does something fundamental, like changes corner. Someone to give him completely new tactics and style, because if they couldn't even put a dent on Usyk, it's not to say Usyk had a one-off night. That's his standard. He's known to box like that. So AJ has to change something fundamental to put a dent on him. And at the moment, if he's not changing his corner, he's not gonna come. It's not gonna come from himself. So, to me, I reckon he should put off the rematch, and then find another way. Because if he loses again, then where does he go?
He's finished after that.
Karim, what would, if you were by AJ side, what would be your advice? Honest advice, not because he's your friend.
No. To be fair, he would have to go for the rematch. If he did lose, he needs to 100% call it a day after that. But as Steve rightly said, like, he needs to change his corner, man. I feel like he needs something new, something fresh. Because he just didn't look up for it at all.
They were complacent.
Because he looked lost, plus his corner looked lost.
Yeah.
They couldn't give him nothing. They didn't say nothing. Oh, throw caution to the wind, try and hold him, put your weight on him, nothing like that. And you got to question the advice of him losing a stone to go into that fight. Yes, it makes him lighter and he could maybe move around more. But as AK said, he was still gassing when we come into the later stage of the fight. So,
and if you listen to AJ's corner before the fight, or the people around him, they were banking on Usyk getting tired towards the tail end of the fight, right? So I've never seen Usyk get tired. His walk rate is a joke. He's so good. He's a proper top athlete, right? First of all, if you want him to get tired towards the tail end of the fight, then you have to start from the early rounds and start putting your weight on him. But if you're not putting your weight on him and you're not playing dirty, how would you expect him to get tired?
He needed to do what Rematch done to Evander Holyfield in the first, especially in the first fight. Rematch just kept getting close to him and kept leaning on Holyfield, kept leaning on him, and he was a smaller man, and eventually he just ran out of steam.
Hold on, you could see that he wasn't getting tired, and they didn't change the plan at all, regardless.
Yeah. Well,
doesn't make sense.
As was clearly saying, so maybe it's his corner, maybe it's his tactics. So I mean, his options are simple: trigger the rematch and hopefully win. If he doesn't win, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from there. The heavyweight division is actually lit with a lot of challenges now, so him going to the bottom and trying to rise up again will be interesting. But he is 31 years old; he probably still has some time. And maybe he comes back even stronger. I mean, I hope he comes back stronger. I like the guy, but unfortunately, in boxing, it's not about likes.
He just needs to give me a call, really.
What?
Hook him up.
With what?
He can train. He can train AJ.
I don't need to train him. I just need to give him that little edge. He knows how to train. If you look at the two of us, we obviously know I can't give him training advice.
he can't even quit at the moment because it's got a new contract.
I think if he does lose the fight, he'll still have to go down the whole Fury Wilder route because everyone still wants to feel the fight, and I think that will still be more money grabber.
Yeah, the thing is, one of them is gonna lose in a couple of weeks, so he'll fight that person.
Well, if Fury turns up. Never know.
Let us save that conversation for that time. Hopefully Fury turns up and we'll see what happens. Well, AJ, we wish you all the best, man. I mean, I do. I don't know about Karim and Mike and everyone.
No, honestly,
why me? I do.
I wish you the best, man. I hope you guys bounce back from it, but I said change, man. I
said that, and everybody, obviously I do. Why you don't want to meet him in the streets, huh?
No, I don't. See.
It is all good, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it was a terrible sports weekend for me. Man United lost, as I said. I went to play in the league that I normally play in. We were leading 3-1. We lost 5-3. It was. But then all of us
that Man United top isn't being won today. What's happening?
Yeah. That Fernandez penalty.
Yeah, I mean,
in history.
So they said
Ronaldo put pressure on him.
They said he has been employed by Elon Musk to go and check out what's happening in Mars. But that penalty was there. But now the question is very simple. It's very, very simple. I said this last week, and Mike was like, "No, give him time." Is it now Nuno out, Arteta in? Is that what we're doing? First of all, Karim, what happened to Spurs yesterday? Because apart from the last 15 minutes in that game, what was the situation? Was it the tactic? Was the tactics wrong, like AJ's corner? Was it the case that Arsenal were just way too good in the first 75 minutes? Was the energy? Did the occasion? I mean, Tottenham looked lost. Graham Souness, AK's dad, pretty much was saying how that they look like they don't have senior players, they don't have anything. They look like they didn't want to be there. So what happened to your team, Karim? Let's start with you. What happened yesterday? The man can't speak, man.
Where do I start? I think the boys didn't turn up at all yesterday. Arsenal, hats off to them, played exceptionally well. They hit us on the counter attack. They looked more up for it. They looked quick off the mark. They moved the ball around the pitch a lot more better than we done. We just looked like, as I said before in my previous conversation with you guys, setting up defensively, which we all know, which one of us, we're all going to find out because every week I'm going to keep mentioning that defensive way is not the Tottenham way. We need to be like Arsenal, hit you on the counter attack, move the ball around, and that's not what Spurs was. Harry Kane looked lost. His mind's not in it anymore. Normally, he's one of the people that's up for a derby, giving the ball, giving the assist. What can I say? We just didn't look up for it. I don't want to even talk about it because my hands are clenching when I'm underneath the screen when I'm talking to you. Like,
Nah, the thing is, right? It's like looking at Tottenham yesterday. It's you would think they were a new bunch of players, or they made a lot of new signings in the summer.
This guy laughing, bro.
Yeah,
Laughing, bro.
like they made a lot of new signings in the summer because they had gaps in midfield, but there's man they were playing together last season, so you know your position. Whether the manager turns and has a certain tactics in mind, yeah, you can see where the problem is on the pitch and address it. Yeah, but them man just looked like they wanted to get rid of Nuno. The way they played yesterday.
The thing is, Tottenham. A lot of people are talking about this free-flowing DNA Tottenham and all that. But in my opinion, the last time Tottenham played free-flowing football was with Harry Redknapp. I know a lot of people say Pochettino was out there, but the base of Tottenham was still counter-attacking football. Under Pochettino, think about with Bale and everything, he was still hit you on the break, push the ball quickly. It wasn't when you talk about free-flowing in terms of passing the ball here and there, all that. You're talking of ManUtd in the old days. You're talking about Man City now. You're talking about Arsenal when under Wenger. That is
Pochettino was the king of pressing and possession football. Like literally high pressing. Pochettino. He did that with Southampton. The same, like he will press the hell out of you.
Yeah, but that was Southampton though. But with Tottenham, his best days was counter-attacking football.
Distance covered is bottom of the league.
True.
Say that again.
Tottenham's distance covered is bottom of the league. Now, as AK correctly said, Pochettino would never in a million years allow
It's
that.
not possible. Even so his team.
But the thing is, the players wanted to do that for him. Yeah, look at the way Nuno's come into that club. Nuno wasn't even one of the top 3 people that they wanted. Wow. He's ended up with the job. That's how it's seen. He's ended up. So with the whole Harry Kane situation on top of that, yeah, it's a very bad, it's a toxic environment for me. You know what I mean for Nuno. So I don't see.
So are you saying? So this is what I understand. So Karim has made some points. AK has gone. Steve is making some points. AK is going. So what I'm trying to understand here, are you saying? I'll start with AK again. Are you saying that Nuno? First of all, Nuno was doomed even before taking the job.
Not necessarily now. It was going to be one of 2 things. Okay, Harry Kane goes and you have 160 million in your bank account, or Harry Kane doesn't go. And if Harry Kane goes, you have enough money to buy, to improve your team, so it wasn't too much of a doomed project at all. If I wasn't doomed at all, I think he needs time. Obviously this is his biggest job. Like he hasn't coached anywhere, as near as the level of Tottenham. And I remember at the beginning of the episodes, the previous ones, I did mention that I think during the rough patch that Nuno will go back to 3 at the back. So this reminds me of Conte. You've been playing 3 at the back all your life. You come to a new club, you start with 4 at the back because you don't want to change things too quickly. And then when the bad times come, you go back to everything that's always worked for you throughout your managerial career. So I think it's going to go back to 3 at the back, and it's going to become very boring, pragmatic, and Tottenham fans will like it. He may win some games from being pragmatic, but I know Tottenham fans will like his style of football.
Well, let's forget about what didn't happen. Mike, let's talk about what happened. Mike, tell me something about an individual called ESR, because that guy seems to be the spark of that team. And do you now trust the process in Arteta in?
No, it's one-off game.
Come on, Mike.
So it's one-off game, first of all. Let's not gas, yeah? Karim, clearly you've got PTSD because you didn't watch the game, because you guys weren't playing defensive. You had Dele Alli and you had Ndombele in the midfield 3. That's not defensive. And then you're...
We set up to be attacking, but we were still defensive.
But Okay, so you play 2 number 10s, but you say it's defensive. Anyway, let's not argue about that.
No. We set up.
No. That's fine. That's right. But you're shit.
We didn't play.
All right. But ultimately, Arsenal were just free flowing and fantastic and dealt with you in it. So that's fine. Let's just take it, sit there and take it for a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, Arsenal were fantastic in the first half. Yeah. Tottenham were poor. Second half they got better, but that performance against Arsenal, like I think they just went up for it and they got it a little bit. I don't know if they got it tactically wrong, but the players on the pitch just didn't do what was required. I don't think there's a need for a crisis, but I think every time that they lose, a little bit like Arteta really, every time they lose from now on, it will be Nuno's food. Is Nuno good enough? Get out. So what he needs to do, is similar to what AK is saying really, is he needs to get some wins. And that's it. It doesn't matter about the performance. He needs to get some wins first, get it under the belt, and then start looking at building performances. If he keeps losing, for him to leave is going to be higher, bigger and bigger. But he's had hardly any time. He's won 3, he's lost 3. It's not.
So he took out Dele Alli in that game at halftime, and he put on Skip.
Mm-hmm.
So there was
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is, mate. I know that Troy Parrott more than I know this guy Skip, Lou, Maguire. I don't know who this guy is.
Anyway, he put on Skip.
That's probably what we should have played Skip first of all.
Yeah, two holding. Should have played 2 holding. But anyway, you live and you learn.
So he did that, but in the first half, as you mentioned, Emil Smith-Rowe, fantastic. Saka, fantastic. Aubameyang looked like he was the old Aubameyang that everybody knew. Arsenal was dominating the game. But the last 15 to 18 minutes, where Tottenham just decided, you know what, we can play football. Yeah. Where was that Tottenham? Because as far as I'm concerned, all of a sudden, where you could tell Arsenal had given it all, they were tired, blah, blah, blah. But where was that Tottenham for the last 15 to 18 minutes? And what really is the issue with Harry Kane, Steve? Let's start with you. Well, because Harry Kane looked like everybody's saying how he's coming back to get the ball because he's not getting supply. I don't think so though. There's something off with him, and I don't think it's the transfer either.
The problem, it's the transfer. He wanted to leave. They should have let him go, start afresh, new manager, give the funds to Nuno, let him get some of his own players into the side, and then try and move Tottenham in a different direction. The players that Nuno's got there, they've got 2 managers that are much better quality than Nuno sacked. Yeah, the bulk of those players that are there now. So for Nuno to come in and try and manage them, for them to excel and go upwards towards the table, like top 6 and stuff, I don't see it happening.
But that's Harry Kane's fault, though.
I didn't say it's Harry Kane's fault, but as a club, they've made a bad decision.
I agree.
They should have got rid of Harry Kane and give the funds to Nuno so he can at least bring in 4 or 5 of his own players of his choosing to try and put his stamp on the club. At the moment, he's playing with a side that was picked by 2 other managers.
Yep.
Yeah, and you saw it in yesterday's game. Those players didn't seem like, even if he got the tactics wrong, the players just weren't up for it. It's like, I don't give a damn what that guy's saying on the sidelines. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, because there was basic stuff. Big gaps in the midfield. no players there. Højbjerg's normally there all the time in the centre circle.
I love it.
Whenever you see that guy was playing, sometimes he was at left back. It's nonsense. Dele Alli was all the way right wing and leaving a big gap. These are professional players that's been playing the game for time. So to me, there's fundamental problems there. How they address it, I don't know, because it's not to say Nuno was their first choice and they could go to the next one. Nuno, it's like they couldn't get someone in the job. So to sack Nuno, who are they going to get in?
Well, the question is not even who they're going to get in. Okay, fine. So let's say the players are not for it. Nuno got it wrong. Eventually, Tottenham didn't seem like wanted to be there. So Arteta got it right, Karim. Tactics was working well. Is it a case of Arsenal can finally trust the process? He lost his first 3, now he has won his own 3. It's like it's reverse roles for both clubs, actually. But the difference is that Nuno has lost to 2 London rivals. So is Arteta's process beginning to work, Karim?
That's the only positive I could take from that game. Is that guy's still is still in the job. Because as long as he's still in the job, bro, you will not get rid of him. And I can't see him changing you lot around. That's the only positive I said. As I said, when I was watching it with my dad, who's an Arsenal fan, and he was all screaming and shouting, I said, to be honest, he's still in the job. I'm happy, mate. You know what I mean? But yes, hats off to him. He got it right. He got his selection right, and they were well up for it. I mean, that's two times in a row now that we've lost to Arsenal. So hopefully at the Tottenham Stadium we can turn it around.
Okay, Mike, trust the process?
No, it's too early to say you trust the process. You can see that there's positive signs, and it's too early. Same way, it's too early to say, "Oh, Nuno out." Really, it's too early. But there are positive signs that Arteta is going in the right direction. We'll see if how we go. I mean, it's too early to say Tottenham are totally shit. They're pretty shit, but they're not totally shit. So we'll see how that one goes as well, to be honest. But I mean, let's see after the next international break or Christmas, we'll see where both clubs are. But Tottenham players need to start playing for the manager, otherwise they're not going to go anywhere.
The thing is, JJ, you mentioned about him going back to a back three, Nuno, yeah?
No, AK mentioned that.
Oh, sorry, AK, him going back to a back three. But who would he play in the back three? At the moment, they got Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer's a defensive midfielder. He's not a centre back.
Exactly. That's the more reason why he should never be in a back two.
Yeah,
if he was playing a back three, then he has more protection.
So I don't know if Tottenham have the personnel. When they used to have Vertonghen, Alderweireld, two players, they're centre backs.
They bought one of the best centre backs in Serie A. They haven't played him yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one of the best goalkeepers as well. So if you play the guy, I can't remember his name now. Play him and Sanchez and Dyer. That's not a bad partnership.
But didn't they buy a right back as well?
Yeah, Emerson from Barcelona. They've got Tanganga. The left back is very good.
Yeah, so put him in the back three.
Anyway. But it could be a Conte moment though, when he came to Arsenal and got battered, and then he changed to a back three in it, and then he went on to win the league.
Exactly.
Oh, well, easy, Tiger.
They'll not win the league, don't worry.
They're not gonna win the league, bro.
All praise to the Most High, man. All praise to the Most High, man.
So that's right.
If Tottenham wins the league, my good God, Mike will have to move out of his house.
No, I'm all right. I live in South London. Nothing's happened to me. I'm all right.
He relocated to Nigeria.
Oh, well, it's all good. Well, speaking about manager, I mean, you could talk about Nuno is not his team, but he still has good caliber players, Harry Kane and all the other guys. Now, the next question is, this is people want to know, what excuse, if Solskjaer doesn't win a title this season, what excuse does he have? Because the team may not be complete, but he has a world-class team. So the thing now, with Ronaldo coming to Man United, the one thing I mentioned was that it gives the fans hope. So you know that you're going to go there and possibly you're going to play good football, blah, 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 and you win. But there are two outcomes you expect from your team. You're going to watch your team, you're like, oh, we're going to be rubbish today. And if you go and they're rubbish, you're like, well, at least we knew we're going to be rubbish, or we're going to win. But Man United fans have no idea what to expect when you watch Man United. You have it's a case of we don't really know what's going to happen. The inconsistency is too much. Is this just a manager problem, AK?
I don't think so. It's too early again. I mean,
what is too early? 6 games. How many more games?
Yes, it's 6 games is nothing. Like Man City were almost in trouble before the Chelsea game. If they had lost against Chelsea, everybody could have been saying, "Oh, Man City are not going to win the league." So it's too early in terms of like anything can change. There's the gap between the leaders and maybe I think even the 8th position is not more than 5-6 points.
I mean,
so,
Arsenal is 10th and they're only 5 points.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it's still early days. He's got the best team he could hope for. He has Cavani on the bench. That's a very good striker to bring on if you need goals and stuff like that. So let's wait till at least December, and then we can see where Man United are at.
So Steve, you have always mentioned the fact that you think Solskjaer is the biggest problem for Man United.
Yes.
And you have always said it from day one. Now the question now is, AK is saying we should wait till December, but Man United have actually lost. We've actually won 1 match in 4 for the last 1 match in 4. Lost to Young Boys away, and was managed to get past West Ham, lost to West Ham at home, and then now lost to Villa. It's funny how people always attack Mourinho when Mourinho was manager. Mourinho only lost 4 games in Old Trafford. Solskjaer has lost 16.
The thing with Solskjaer, and out of those results, the West Ham missed the penalty. Mark Noble.
Yep.
Missed the penalty. So it would have been a 5 winless or something like that. If Man United want to go for the title with the squad that they got, they would have to make a managerial change now. Solskjaer, I don't think, as I've always said, is a manager that will get
Who
them
will
the
you
title.
bring in?
You could go with
Conte. He's free.
Conte. You can go with Conte, and then
is this a case of just bringing a big name manager, or just bringing somebody that actually will fit the philosophy?
I think Solskjaer's done. How can I say the job he's done at Man United is to get rid of the cloud that was hanging since Ferguson left. Yeah, Man United seem to be free of that now. They've had Mourinho, Van Gaal, who didn't do it, Moyes, who didn't do it. But with Solskjaer, there seems to be a different kind of belief in Man United. And people are not always referring to Ferguson and playing like the team's playing, still trying to find themselves. Yeah, the club seems to have found themselves again. But I just don't think Solskjaer can manage all the big personalities that he has at that club tactically and be consistent, because he's had these run of results before. He had it last season when he was losing games and people were saying he should change then. I don't think he'll give you that consistency to win the league, especially going up against managers like Tuchel, Guardiola and Klopp to say win the title. I don't think the players will do it on their own.
See, I've never understood when players, I understand the man management part of the game, but I've never understood when players can click, why people always blame the managers. However, when you look at Solskjaer, he five semi-finals. So he's the maybe manager. 5 semi-finals, almost won that. Man United haven't lost an away game in the Premier League for 28 matches. So there's always, as much as there's something that looks really bad, there's always something that you go, you know what, this guy has actually done something good. Is that what is keeping him in the team, Mike?
What, the fact that he almost wins trophies?
No, the fact that there's a positive with every negative, or sometimes there's even more
stability as well.
What's the positive? I don't get it.
I just mentioned the few. Where yeah, you're so busy looking at Karim's face.
No, because what I heard, is there? No, what I heard was he almost wins trophies.
No, what I said is that when you bring out the positives that you can bring out.
Okay, what's the positive? That he almost wins trophies?
No, the fact that Steve mentioned stability. Are you, Karim? What do you think, Karim?
No. The fact that they've got the longest. Wait. The fact that they've got 28 games away from home, not defeated, undefeated. He's got to 5 semi-finals. So it's not to say he's totally bad. Yeah, they've had 4 or 5 bad results but he still can take them somewhere. They don't win now. Yeah, he hasn't won nothing.
Guys, let's stop fucking about. This is Man United we're talking about, yeah? So what is consistently doing? Man United, a team like Man United needs to win trophies. So all this semi-finals and consistently 24 games unbeaten, it's all rubbish. It doesn't mean anything. When you're Man United, yeah? We're talking about Manchester United, yeah? An elite team. You need to win something. So
yes, Mike.
Bigger than Southampton?
Bro, why are you still here even? I don't know why you're even on this show. I don't know why you're in this show. Your team's not even in consideration. Anyway, it's another story.
But we won't talk about it.
Look, Man United has to win something. So all that I talk is just the teams that are lower. They have to win something.
No. Man United have to win something given the level of investment that they've made in the summer and the players that they bought this summer. That's why Man United have to win something.
Because they're Man United.
Nah, you can be Man United, but if you're not making good investment, on buying good players, right? Like the summer when they bought Martial and stuff, no one's expecting Martial to come in and for them to win the league. Look what they bought in the summer: Sancho, Varane, Ronaldo.
So before that, you tell me that they
Tom Heaton.
So wait. So you're telling me that they don't have a good enough squad, a better squad, or have had a better squad than Arsenal, who won FA Cup, than Leicester, who won cups.
FA to me, everyone talks about FA Cup, but if Man United
I said
win the
win
FA,
something.
if they
I
win
said
the
win
FA,
something.
if they win
Yeah.
the FA Cup, right,
Yeah.
this season, that's a failure. That is a failure. Considering who they've got in their side,
No.
right? That is a
You're
failure.
confused. Wait, hold on. You're talking about this season with Ronaldo and that guy, all that guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm saying as a club, forget about this season. This is the season where you
But we're
expect
talking
big
about this
things.
season. We're talking about Solskjaer this season.
Yeah, but all seasons, every last 2 to 3 seasons, Man United as a club should always be contended to win stuff. Not only this season, not only just because this season.
First of all, as Steve has mentioned, regardless of who you have in your squad, I mean, nobody has a given right and blah 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 blah. So, but when you think about since Fergie has gone, since Fergie left, so you've had what's his name, David Moyes,
Yep,
Ryan Giggs,
oh yeah,
Ryan Giggs, Louis van Gaal, and of course Solskjaer. Now, out of all those managers,
Maureen.
I'm Mourinho.
of course, Mourinho is the only. Mourinho actually won a title with Man United. Yes, you can talk about the man management and all that story. I mean, Mike is right to almost on all that, all the positive things.
Van Gaal won a title as well.
Yes, Van Gaal won the title in the FA Cup. So, all this almost Solskjaer hasn't won anything, and he has been there the longest.
Yeah, that's it.
He hasn't won anything. He has been given all the patience in the world. So, I mean, Karim, what would you? Are you in agreement with Steve that managerial change needs to be made?
I put some context on my thing. I said if they're going to win the league, they need to do managerial change.
Okay, Karim, though.
Spurs fan? No. But if you don't want to exceed, you have the players. You've had the players for the last 2 years.
Exactly.
And I feel like you should have won something.
Especially the last season, we get into all those semis and all that.
Exactly.
It's not good enough, though. As a Man United, it's not good enough, is it really?
Thanks, Karim. I owe you one.
So, yeah, I believe if you want to go to the next step and be in the same conversation as the Liverpool and the Man Cities, then a managerial change will be required, yes.
Okay. So, managerial change. AK, you asked who if they get rid of Ole now. Okay, let's assume that we agree with what everybody's saying and get rid of Ole. Do you get rid of him now and put in the manager this early, or do you wait and see his outcome? AK?
I'll wait to see his outcome because it's a bit too early in the season to start to make changes. Like, it's not like they're bottom of the league. Like, you actually have no justification to actually sack him now. So if you're going to sack him now, why didn't you sack him at the beginning of the season? Are you going to sack him after 6 games because he lost all 6 games? No, he hasn't lost all 6 games. So I'll wait to at least December to see, did they make it out of the group stage of the Champions League? You know, where are they in the table in the Premier League? And also the FA Cup starts next year. So I'll just wait to December to see where they are.
Well, if you do sack him, who will you bring in? Especially if you sack him in December. Who will be your top? I tell you what, we'll start with AK and tell me, since all of you are kind of in agreement that, okay, fine, December, blah, blah, blah. Tell me your top 2 managers, if you get rid of Ole right now or in December, that you bring in for Man United and you feel it to actually make an impact in Man United. AK, let's go. Start with you.
The best coach would be Conte, but fortunately, Conte wouldn't want to take the job midway through the season. He's so much of a winner, so he wants to start the project from scratch. So he wouldn't want anything to taint his record, so he wouldn't join. The next person would be Koeman. If Barcelona gets rid of Koeman, Man United should get him. At least he will play, football the proper way.
Steve?
Arteta, of course, not joking.
That one, Arsenal will package him in a ribbon. There you go. Have this guy. Well, who do you think?
Yeah, Conte, because he's available. I'm trying to think. Koeman, I don't know. Jury's out on him. For me, he's a good manager, but I don't know if he'll take Man United to title above the quality of managers there already. I'll struggle outside of Conte, to be honest. I don't know who you could nick from somewhere else. I don't know.
Mike?
I think they give him the whole season. They don't change him and see what he does, because you're talking about the title. The title's a long race, and there's other titles to win as well.
That weren't the question,
I
though.
agree.
That weren't the
Yeah,
question, though.
well, that's my answer. So I don't really care what the question was. That's my answer.
Guys.
How can you not care what the
Exactly.
I just said I wouldn't sack him. So if I wouldn't sack him, I'll give you 2 managers.
If they
the question was if he goes in December, who would
He's
you?
not gonna go. He's not gonna go in December, so I don't need to. He's not. He's not. Ask Kareem, man. Yeah. What's about? Kareem's in a coma, man. What's wrong with this guy?
I think he's the old Juventus guy.
Allegri. No, he's gone back to Juventus, isn't it? But the way they're going, they might sack him.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know. But yeah, Coleman is a good shot. And
Graham Potter.
The Belgian coaches might be
Yeah.
available as
Martinez.
well.
Martinez.
Martinez to Barcelona.
Martinez and Bielsa are of the same cloth. They don't know how to defend. They will make every team attack and make everything look wonderful. They don't know how to defend. Anyway.
But yeah, I'm not really a fan of the whole mid-season sacking. I think
says Daniel Levy.
I'll tell you something that I don't know if they'll do it though. Do you reckon they would go for someone like Brendan Rodgers?
No.
Not mid-season. Why?
Not mid-season. I'm not talking about mid-season. I'm just talking about if they have to replace Solskjaer, whether it be tomorrow or at the end of the season, whatever. Do you think they would go for someone like Brendan Rodgers?
There's a bigger chance to hire Brendan Rodgers if Solskjaer is sacked at the end of the season. So it would be a case of there are 2 reasons why ManUtd wouldn't possibly give Brendan Rodgers a job. One, if you sack Solskjaer with the caliber of players we have now, you want to bring in a manager that you feel, you know what, this guy has a very high chance of winning. One, Brendan Rodgers is a former Liverpool manager. It's not going to. I don't think the fans will like that. And 2, yes, he's doing really well with Leicester, but then Brendan Rodgers taking over Solskjaer, he could argue he's a better manager. He has won the FA Cup, he has a title, but in terms of difference of experience and stuff, I think
he's got more experience than Thing.
He's got more experience.
But as I said, the club will want, or the fans particularly will want. Okay, typical example. David Moyes came to ManUtd. He had the blessing of Fergie. The fans are like, yeah, he had a good steady ship at Everton. Didn't do well. They decided, we need to sack this guy and bring somebody. They sacked him. They brought Louis van Gaal. Everybody was excited. He's a winner. He's a this. He's a that. He's a bap. He won the FA Cup. Then, of course, they said, his man management, the team wasn't playing well. Once again, the board reacted. Let's bring in somebody that will be a winner. They brought Mourinho. Everybody was happy. Oh, my God. He wins titles everywhere, blah, blah, blah. He did win titles. And then when they sacked him mid-season, everybody was like, once again, what can we do? They brought a club legend. So everybody, okay. So if you get rid of a club legend, somebody that you bring in has to be somebody that you think, you know what, we have a chance of winning something in 2 years.
So you being the Man United fan, who would be your 2 to replace him?
If he's sacked in December.
Yeah.
If he's sacked in December, a manager to replace him, it has to be one of them. That's a hard one.
Even though I don't think they'll sack him in December, I think they'll go.
Carrick.
No, it's a hard one because they'll have to bring somebody to patch up to the end of the season. I'll mention one name that will shock you guys.
Carrick.
Roy Keane.
Because
the first thing he would do is come and seize everybody's iPad.
And don't pull sandwiches served in the ground.
Well, it's all good. Well, inconsistent ManUtd, Nuno out, Arteta in.
Question. Just say. What about Eddie Howe? What do you think of Eddie Howe?
But as a ManUtd manager or as a manager?
As an interim ManUtd manager.
Kareem, stand up, walk to your fridge. Get some cold water. Just pour it over your head.
No, he's a decent manager though.
Not for ManUtd.
The
No,
only,
Exactly.
as
the
an
only person
interim,
here,
as an
the
interim.
only person here that could possibly accept him as a manager is AK as a Southampton fan.
Who Graham
Eddie
Souness?
Howe. Eddie Howe.
Eddie
Eddie Howe. No, Eddie Howe was an interim manager. That would be a job opportunity, but I don't see that happening at all.
He's very good. He's very good.
I think he's a good manager.
Well, hire him then.
He's better than Nuno at the moment.
Didn't he turn it down? I thought he turned it down.
No, I don't think. I don't. I
Because
think
he was
his
rumoured to be
CV's
going
not up
Celtic.
there,
He's ready to go Celtic, innit? And then that fell
Yeah.
through.
Well, we shall see. Now, the next question I need to ask, and it's a very simple question. I'm assuming watching City, the way they play against Chelsea, can we finally put an end to this? They don't need a striker or they need a striker argument. AK, you were buzzing and happy and talking about how wonderful City was during that game. What do you think?
No, that was the best performance I've seen in Man City in like maybe in 1 year or something. They were that good. The intensity they brought to the game took Chelsea unawares. And in fact, like Conte lost the ball like so many times. They kept pickpocketing him and stuff like that. Like the intensity was really too much for Conte to cope. That's how good City were against Chelsea, especially in the first half. But they didn't get any shot on targets in the whole first half.
And is that because they don't have a striker?
Chelsea, well, the counter argument would be Chelsea didn't also have a shot on target, but they were struggling to create chances, and the few chances they got, for having so much possession. If you're going to have 65% possession against a serious title challenger or title contender, then you need to punish them, because if you're still 1 goal up, 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, when Chelsea literally went route one, pumping, loading balls into the box, into the Man City box, anything could have happened. Lukaku could have nicked a header and scored, and the complexion of the game would change. So not having a striker meant they couldn't score the second or third goal to actually give them that cushion to then enjoy the game.
So in other words, you're saying they still need a striker?
Of course, they need a striker.
Okay, that's cool. Steve, you didn't seem very happy, and you mentioned that Conte was the only manager that knew how to use N'Golo Kante. Do you still think that's the case, or was it just a case, a bad day in the office for Chelsea on the day?
I think Guardiola, how can I say, outthought Tuchel on this occasion. Tuchel changed things slightly, but I still stand by the fact that since Kante is playing under Conte, you haven't seen the best of him. They're trying to do something, always trying to do something different with him, be it taking from just being more defensive and breaking up play to get him to start driving with the ball more and trying to start attacks in more advanced areas of the pitch. And I just don't think it works for him as a player. You don't see the best of him. Do Man City still need a striker? Yes, I think they do, and they know it themselves, because otherwise they wouldn't have bid for a couple. Yeah, it's as simple as that. If they didn't want one, they wouldn't.
It's funny how Steve says that all the time, but
it's true. They didn't bid for a goalkeeper, did they?
Man, what are you talking about? They have Edison, and they have
exactly,
and they have.
They didn't bid for a centre back, but they bid for a striker. So that shows that themselves know they need a striker. Over the course of a season, I think they need a striker. Can they win the league without one? Yes, they can, because they're that good. But I just think they'll benefit more if they're split doing Champions League and league. They need a striker.
So there's always talk about Lukaku not pretty much showing up in the big games, Mike. I don't know what the big games, I'm assuming will be the top big teams. So against Man City, he looked like that. You know that Lukaku that for him to control the ball, you think he's trying to kick the egg or something, or he's worried. He just looked like the way
Lukaku Mark 1 at Chelsea.
Yeah,
that's what he looked like.
The way he started the season compared to that, he just looked funny. So what does he need to do? Does he need to score against these big boys to cement himself as top striker, Mike? Or is it just a case of City outplayed them, so he couldn't even find his footing?
Yeah, basically what you just said. Ultimately, if he scores 25, 24 goals at the end of the season, Golden Boot, and they win the title, then they're going to say, oh, he's a great striker. If he scores only 10 goals, but he scores them against the top teams and they don't win the title, no one's going to say, oh, he's a great striker because he scored against Liverpool. It's about the season. It's not necessarily about who you score against. Yes, top strikers might make a difference in a big game, but the season's about 38 games, not just about those 6 games when you play against the big boys.
When you look at teams that buy strikers as the missing part, I mean, typical example, you Arsenal boys know about the missing part when Man United took Van Persie. Yeah, you know. Oh, the pain. The
pain. This guy.
Pain. Yes, and then won the league. You guys understand that. But Lukaku was bought as the missing part of the team because, of course, Timo Werner is shy. And so if he doesn't, as you say, if he does score 25 league goals and they win the league, then yes, it works. But in the case of, let's say they don't win the league, say they finish second, and he scores 20 goals, but he doesn't score against the big boys, is this still questionable as a striker?
No, not in my opinion. He's scoring goals, isn't it?
What do you think, Karim? Would you trade Lukaku now for Harry Kane?
In a heartbeat.
I wouldn't trade him. No. I still think it's a bit harsh on Lukaku. Yeah, I know that whole he never scored.
You were saying you don't understand why he looks younger than you last week.
That's it.
But yeah, I know it's always been that stigma around him saying, "No, I never scores against the big 6," but it looks like he might be going on that route again. But he's still a class striker, and as Mike correctly said, like if he bangs 25, 30 goals just in the season and he wins the Golden Boot, he's world class, isn't he? Really, and he's proved to his critics that he can do it. The fact that he doesn't.
And it was a tight game as well. It was a tight game. It was a 1-0 game. Just a tight game.
The thing is, the 2 centre backs you're playing against are very, very good.
Yeah,
they're top
he didn't have
centre-backs.
a bad game.
Yeah, they're top centre backs, and they knew how to play him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's 2 of them. To be honest.
Yeah, his hold-up play was generally poor anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is, they put pressure on him.
Oh,
as simple as that.
Oh, I agree.
As soon as the ball came up to him, if it didn't stick, and really stick, Rodri was there to pick up the ball from him. So he was getting the tap from both sides. But
AK is right though. Lukaku's hold-up game has never been wonderful, and considering the fact that he's
never. It's improved slightly in Inter, but it's still Lukaku. We know he can score, he can finish, but his general gameplay, like. There were times when Chelsea were in serious pressure in that first half, and it could have helped if Lukaku could have, held the ball for a few more seconds. But then he gave the ball straight away to Chelsea.
Here's a question.
Sorry, to Man City.
It is a question for you. Yeah, his hold-up plays pretty poor, right? But considering that Chelsea had Giroud on their books, right? They never played that way with him there.
No, but as a striker,
Giroud's goal return was his nemesis.
As a striker, to have hold-up play doesn't mean that must be your strongest point. So the thing with that is, so Chelsea they're not going to throw in a striker and go, your hold-up play is wonderful, so we'll start playing route 1, or we want you to hold the ball. They won't do that. But when you're on the pitch, they expect there are times of their games that we need you to bring something out of the bag. So Lukaku, we know you give him the ball, if he's a defender, he loves it. You give him the ball, he turns, he shoots. But in tough games where, as you say, he played against 2 world-class defenders, and you know what? We actually need you. We have Timo Werner on the right. We have other players that can run. We actually need you to hold the ball and distribute. Your hold-up play has to be way better.
But hold on. If he had scored, and say his hold-up play was still crap, and he scored, we wouldn't be talking all this business.
I will.
We know you. Yeah, we know you, Graham.
I will.
I've always pointed the fact that even when he was in Man United, I've always pointed the fact that as a striker, typical example, if you look at Harry Kane, we all know Harry Kane's strong point. Give me the ball. Once I turn, I can shoot, I can make the run, blah, blah, blah.
Once he gets out of Ben White's pocket, that is.
Yeah.
Liberties.
But when it comes to holding the ball when he needs to distribute, he can do it. It's not his strongest, he's not the biggest guy or the strongest guy. He gave Saka an assist yesterday. But what we're saying here is that when he needs to do it, he can do it. And that's Lukaku needs to adapt that part of his game that you're not going to have, even if it's 1 or 2 games or 3 games in a season, that they need you to hold the ball. You need to do it. Now with Giroud on the other hand, Giroud could hold the ball, he could distribute, but then he couldn't make those runs Lukaku's making.
Behind,
He couldn't
behind.
do all those things. And yes, you could say it's age, but as a striker, you have to be able to pull it out every now and then. So he needs to do that. And then speaking about a striker that is aging like fine wine, unfortunately, Mike isn't doing that. But
I'm playing DM now, that's why. But anyway, that's another story.
yeah, that's true. That's true. However, this guy is kind of your same name. He's a striker that with age, he's 31 years old now. He has had injuries, but he's looking like he's wonderful and improving all the time. Hold up, play wonderful, pace wonderful. Did he run?
Guy as well.
Did he run to the Reggae Boys too soon? Could he have made it in the English team? And this is Mikel Antonio.
Nope.
Who are you targeting first?
Now I'm trying to see you to ask first. I'll start with the fellow Jamaican, Karim. What do you think about your top striker? He's definitely world.
He's doing really well, man. He's in my fantasy football team at the moment, and he's winning me points week in, week out. I can't see him breaking into the England team though.
Even now, he's the most informed striker right now.
He is.
Nobody can break into the England team while Harry Kane's playing. Exactly. Forget about it.
It's not just about your talent on the pitch, mate.
It's not, man. It's not. And sadly, he's not taken. Like Harry Kane is probably the first nod in the change room, if we're honest. But yeah, I think he's doing really well, man. I'm glad he's turning it around. I like his little charisma that he's going on as well, the banter that he's got with the Sky Sports guys, man. I think yeah, man, he's doing well, man.
Karim is just thinking of going out with that guy or something like,
yeah, man. It's only West Ham. He's down the road. He's a local boy, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're gonna have drinks, man. Yeah. Mike, what do you? My rating. I like strikers or players that the older they get, like Jamie Vardy, all those kind of guys. They're getting older, but the play seems to be there. What do you think is the initial problem when they're younger? That's a bit difficult. Is it finding the right team, finding the right manager? Because with Mikel Antonio, everybody knew he could work really hard. People were not really worried about will he score, but you know that he'll give you 100%.
Well, the first two are important, right team, right manager. But the most important ingredient, I think, is willingness to learn and adapt your game and practice and be better, not just finish training and then go. Because we play with young players, they don't listen. You have to listen, you have to learn, you have to want to be better. That's why Ronaldo is such a great professional, because he always wants to improve. Even though he's arguably the best in the world, he still wants to improve. And I think with younger players, they across all football, they feel like, oh, I'm the main guy, I've made it, I'm so good, and they don't really always want to run the hard yards or get better in the all-round game. So, but as he gets older, as you get older, you learn things, you listen more, you read the game better, and generally for a lot of people, they get better as they get older because they adapt their game to what they're playing with or how their body responds.
I know what you mean, man. I feel that all the time. Anyway,
what?
Anyway, Steve, as Mike mentioned, what is this story about as a player? Surely if a player is good enough, he must fit the team. I mean, I believe that, I understand that, but really, how big is important? He must fit a particular team. He must find the right manager. I mean, when we talk about that, I think about Mikel now. I think of Adama Traore. But really, Mikel, the way he's looking now, and surely he can play in any team at the moment.
Can play in any team, but will the manager trust him and use him in exactly the same way? I think Antonio's excelled since he's been under Moyes. It's a combination that works. Moyes trusts him to do a certain job for the team, and he's blossoming from it. Yeah, because he used to do bit parts before, but now he seems settled, and the most important thing, he seems happy, and he's showing in his football.
Steve, at one point, didn't he play right back or something at one point?
Yeah, but at West Ham he started right back.
Under Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
So,
but since Moyes has been there, a couple of seasons now, isn't it? Yep. So and
in Nottingham Forest, he was a winger.
Yeah, since Moyes has been there, he's excelled. Especially, he seems to have cemented him up front. There's lots of talk about West Ham and in for a striker and stuff, but any striker that they get is coming in as number 2 to Antonio. And going back to the England bit, once Harry Kane's there, you should go and play for Jamaica, man. Because once Harry Kane's there, he's not gonna get a sniff. No matter how well he's doing, they'll rather call Jamie Vardy out of retirement than say go to Antonio.
I mean,
it's
you've
the
got
same thing.
Rashford. They've got loads of different other options as well.
I mean, Calvin Lewin.
Yeah, they won't get Antonio. But as Harry Kane can go a year without a goal. They'll still play him. See, we've seen it with Shearer, seen it with Shearer, seen it with Rooney. If that's the guy, he plays.
Man.
Well,
there's so many people ahead of him. It's a joke. Like, not saying they're better players, but like Southgate would rather just say, yeah, I'll give it to Vardy, I'll give it to Danny
ECL.
No, but the thing is with the striker thing, that's the one. But you can pick a man on 4 minutes because England are not playing every week. Yeah, they're getting together once every so often. So if you've got a striker that's a banging form, yeah, a striker should be able to make their way into that side or definitely into the squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with that, though. And obviously, once again, there's a counter argument to that. And I'll throw this to AK. Mancini picked his Italian team not based on name or form. He picked his team based on who I can use.
Correct.
Southgate did that to a good point, and that's why he'll pick the likes of Lingard over certain players, or he'll pick Trippier over defenders. I mean, Luke Shaw had a stellar season last season, but even in the first game, he picked Trippier, and then eventually he picked Luke Shaw, which worked out. However, some managers will always pick. I know what you're talking about the strike thing, but AK has a Souness perspective that he sees things in a different way. So is it with the Harry Kane thing, as Steve mentioned, if he goes, I mean, Harry Kane has gone with 5 Premier League games or 6 Premier League games out they go, but he'll probably still, let's say Mikel Antonio still wanted to play for England, Kane will probably still be picked before Mikel Antonio. Is this a case of he doesn't suit Southgate's style, or is just I don't like the guy or something?
So it's a combination of two of them. The first one is factually, actually, Harry Kane is a better player, way better player than Antonio to start with. So some managers will rather still keep being patient and trusting that the better player will produce the goods at some point. And then secondly is also the style. Moyes' style is very good for Antonio because he's a hustler. He just, he'll push everything into the net. So England don't play that way. So even from a style perspective, I still don't think he's a player that will suit the way Southgate plays.
But not even to get a chance to get in the squad. If he's banging in goals through the course of the season, right? Say this guy gets 20 goals, at one point he's not even in the squad. I'm not saying he should go in and start. Yeah, but
so the problem with the thing with when you're choosing your squad is then the squad is not about the player's character, because one of the things coaches don't want to do is I don't want to just choose you if you're not comfortable understanding that you might be on the bench for most of the tournament. So I don't want to choose you and then you come and be a problem in the camp. So that's why sometimes they drop certain players because they don't want to be on the bench.
I mean, there are certain players that when you look at, you wonder, how come this guy is not playing? I mean, Maddison is a very typical example for me. The man could take 26 players for England, and he didn't take Maddison. Instead, he took the defender. What's the defender's name? Can't remember.
Ben White.
Ben White?
Yeah, he took Ben White. And I mean, he also had Jesse Lingard that was on form and playing for him. He took Jesse Lingard for the friendlies, but didn't take him. So I guess it depends on who the manager is.
But why would you go play and be on the bench or maybe not even be the squad for England when you can start for Jamaica and you're 31 and you want to play international football? It's not like
it made sense that he made the switch. As you said, he wants to play international football.
If it's 21, maybe, but it's not.
Well,
he's playing William Bailey, so it's fine.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. First of all, we'd like to, Mike, let's end this episode with some nice words towards Karim, your mate.
No, hold on a sec. Before Mike goes in, there's one thing we ain't talked about. Wait. There's one thing we ain't talked about.
Which is?
The satellite tracking system on that penalty. What?
Wait.
And Martinez' jig. Martinez' jig.
Audio, man.
Martinez' jig. after the penalty.
Wait. Can I ask a quick question though? Right?
Yeah.
Let me see what shirt you're wearing, JJ. Because
Oh!
you've been hiding it all this time, though, innit?
Oh,
Well, when we play every other episode, you're there. Man can see your breast every second. Man,
Mike, have you been looking at my breast?
Not like that, but yeah, a little bit. Anyway, yeah. Now that this episode, you're hiding. You like you wear a referee top. Man didn't even show the finger to it. Yeah, sure. Be proud, man.
In that game, there was a lot of turning points though, and there was a lot of wayward decisions which Mike Dean, I don't know what he was doing in that.
Mike Dean's on drugs most of the time, anyway. To be honest,
but there was a lot of handball should have been given.
There were a lot of dodgy decisions. I mean, Harry Kane should have been given a penalty.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Anyways, Mike, take it away, man.
7 minutes
wait.
and counting.
No. Listen.
Tell Kareem some nice words.
Look, Kareem, I know you're a bit suicidal right now about self-harming and all that stuff, yeah, bro. Because Spurs are shit. But listen, things will get better. Yeah. Look at Arsenal. Look where we were. Bottom of the league. You were top. And then it turned its head. Now we're above you. 3 games later, bro. Trust the process. Yeah. Nuno in. Peace out.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of Grassroot Chats.
What's up, bro?